Albums of the year
I
already?
know.
What are you doing?
So, it is the midway point of 2019, and well, technically the midway point of 2019 would be like June 15th, but I don't really feel like recording this video then. It's that time of the year. Around this time, for the last 2 or 3 years, I've been doing these midway point lists where I talk about the albums that I've loved the most out of the year so far until the year is over. Now, a lot of these albums may still be in my albums of the year by the end of the year list. It may not be. But I know a lot of people talked about how much great music that we got in 2018. And don't get me wrong, there were some amazing moments in 2018, not only as far as diss tracks are concerned, but overall music. We got albums from Eminem, Travis Scott, J. Cole, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B. The list goes on. It was a big year for music, and I don't know if we're going to have a music year like that again. But in terms of quality, oh my God, 2019 has been on one. You know how this goes. You leave your best albums of the year so far in the comment section down below. I give you mine. Hopefully we have a healthy exchange of music. First album on the list that I wanted to shout out is Detroiter. Okay, I got some Detroiters on here that first need some recognition, starting with Lizzo. Her Cause I Love You album, to me, and it's unintentional, is hilarious. The thing that made this album so funny to me was really because of how theatrical the intro was. And the theatrics in her voice, the animation in her voice is what made this such an entertaining listen for me, because it proves just how out of this world someone could be acting when they're just so head over heels for someone. The intro is like this over dramatic love musical, and it's great. Not only sonically is it amazing, but vocally she's doing her thing. But when you think about it in context to what the record means, the whole thing is just her dramatizing this one guy. Over the course of the project, she gets a lot more confidence and starts to find her own way. And a lot of the instrumentation and production on this project is similar to that, in the vein that it is very lush, it is very grand, very cinematic, despite it discussing something so simple. And I know love isn't a very simple subject to discuss, it having so many intricacies and so many different layers, but I think the ability to paint it as if it's this completely different world entirely is a talent that she manages to tap into on Cause I Love You. Quelle Chris with his Guns album is a jazzy, more melodic take on the political issues that he has right now. I really like how there are so many gun metaphors on this project, and being a Detroit native, again, I gotta show love to him. I really enjoyed this project, and from the standpoint of somebody that's got some really hard rapping and also some really odd ideas, especially that one track Obama on here. The production on Obamacare is oddly reminiscent of the track Really Doe from Danny Brown's Atrocity Exhibition. Another reason why I love it so much, because these inflections and these vocal acrobatics seem to be things that I find more in Detroit artists, and I'm loving it so much more now. Little Simz with her album Gray Area, I really enjoyed this project. Her just shoving her foot, her face, her whole body into the rap game and acting as a block or an immovable object to let everyone know that's coming her way, I am here. Very vicious and assassin-like portrayal of herself on the James Bond, in my opinion, kind of inspired track like Venom, is essentially what sums up the experience of what she's trying to convey on this project, and I would definitely recommend it. This album, also listening to it, is an example of how Little Simz embraces the embodiment of the phrase the gray area. Like, not to say that she's this artist that no one's ever heard of, or you couldn't ever find a female rapper who could do something in the vein that she's doing, but I do believe in some ways artists like her, females like her in the rap game, are a bit of an anomaly. So they are existing in the gray area by doing what they're doing and being as talented as they are without having to overly feminize themselves or sexualize themselves. Solange's When I Get Home album is a great way to describe how repetition can get your goals accomplished. The belief in repetition, the belief in refrains, and the belief in your own ideas can push you far. I really love the approach of putting it in here before you can see it out here that this album takes. And I feel like after listening to both A Seat at the Table and this project When I Get Home, if A Seat at the Table was a project that was supposed to get you to, as a black woman or as a black male, acknowledge your worth, this is kind of an instructional guide as what to do once you've acknowledged your power, once you've acknowledged who you really are. Rico Nasty and Kenny Beats with Anger Management. I love this project. It's very abrasive, very in your face, handles itself like an anger management seminar. It's done for Rico Nasty's own catharsis. I think the beats here, produced by Kenny Beats, are amazing, and they act as like a perfect pair. The harmony that they share, the chemistry that they have with one another, to be able to craft beats to perfectly embody the emotion of your artist is just a talent, and it's a relationship that not too many people have with one another. The emotional instability that she goes through trying to maintain a sense of self while growing in the music industry is all there on this project. And she also has some melodic cuts here where she's a little bit more calm and she kind of looks back on her tantrum. Paak with Ventura. I mean, like I said in the review for it the first time, if Oxnard was a little too plastic for you and it felt like you were eating fast food, this album is a home-cooked meal from scratch. The dedication to classic soul on this project, while also referencing West Coast production and also G-Funk, so as not to be confused with the very contemporary, very modern R&B landscape that has flooded the music market so far today. Acts like Bryson Tiller and Khalid and Kehlani are all acts that I feel could be talented but don't necessarily take that many musical risks, especially when you're dealing with a genre of music that's supposed to be, in my opinion, somewhat separate from hip-hop and rap music. Paak brings that 70s and that 80s classic soul music back to the new generation, perfectly layers himself within it. Those live instruments, the charisma in his voice, the wit, the groove. He sounds so in his element and so perfect over these instrumentals. I don't know how you can be a fan of soul or R&B and not like this record. Aesop Rock with MALIBU is an ode to rap purists. If you like rap music and that's it, I'm telling you, this is where you need to go. If you're over the whole melodic trap influence, if you're over beats carrying an artist, you are going to be 150% satisfied with this listen right here. Beats are so weird, janky, and out of this world, and Aesop Rock is so strangely perfectly in pocket with all of them. A good portion of this project at some point sounds extremely trippy and very woozy, kind of like a tablet meant to upset the stomach in a way. Speaking of being a rap purist and a hip-hop head, YourOldDroog with It Wasn't Even Close. If you would love to hear classic The Game mixed with MF Doom, mixed with some Rock Marciano, mixed with some Ka, mixed with some New York style, old sample heavy looped instrumentals, this is exactly where you need to go.
Said I make more money in my sleep than you rise and grind. We like
you can hear him talking out the side of his mouth, yo. The ability to be a character that's interesting enough just based off of your writing ability to not need or require features is something I feel is exclusive to artists like YourOldDroog. Of course, when I do hear a feature with him, I'm still excited because they're usually artists that he has to some lyrical standard, but just the idea that he doesn't need them for this product to be an entertaining listen just for you to see what he's gonna say next is, I feel, is its best quality. I do think instrumentally an artist with the writing of Droog can take it to the next level, but these are still some really great tracks on this album. The new self-titled Injury Reserve album, I really enjoyed this project. Another ode to staying true to yourself despite the many things that can throw themselves in front of your way in the music industry. I really enjoyed the self-identification that they put to a very high priority on this project. Not only do they identify themselves vocally, but they identify themselves instrumentally, sonically, and I do think they come together with a sound that you can't really get from anywhere else. A lot of these tracks, despite being very off-kilter, still maintain a solid groove, and I think that's something that you have to credit to the producer in just the way they can put themselves over these instrumentals and sound completely comfortable. Despite the sample that it uses for Jailbreak the Tesla, artist regular dude should just not be able to rap over that song. Tyler, the Creator with IGOR. I know people who clicked on this video was really probably just waiting for this one, but I mean, yes, it's one of my albums of the year. It's a great album, detailing the story of how Tyler, the Creator had to deal with being infatuated with and being the pursuer of a love interest. Not only is this album sonically just amazing. I refer to it as synth porn very often. It's references to 80s synth pop, it's references to old jazz, it's references to neo soul, it's references to Pharrell, NERD, Kanye, and just to be able to use these influences but still curate his own sound is something that I feel is a talent that Tyler the Creator has expressed even on albums as early as something like Cherry Bomb. Now, a project like Cherry Bomb, in my opinion, isn't nearly as interesting. It isn't nearly as, in my opinion, and I'm not gonna try to sugarcoat it, as respectable as something that is as expressive conceptually as a project like IGOR. And I say that because of just how emotionally, at least within his music, Tyler has seemed to grow over the past 3 albums, and how there is a bit of a parallel between Tyler and the character IGOR, and how I feel they would similarly deal with handling love and emotions. Meg The Stallion's new Fever album really respect how confident, how self-assured, and just how focused this album really is, not only in terms of the lyrics and the delivery. It's very sexual, it's very confident, but it's also very Houston, and she is as blunt and as crude as a Pimp C or any other Southern artist like a Juicy J. I just think this project further solidifies her as one of the few female representatives of Houston culture. If I'm gonna love the way Lizzo handles the romantic aspect of her life on 'Cause I Love You, I love the way that Fever handles the romantic aspect of Meg The Stallion's personal life. In a way, it tackles it in a very contractual, very non-personal way. Denzel Curry with his Zoo album. This is basically Denzel Curry's FM project. It references Miami. It references not only Miami, but West Coast, Houston, Memphis. There's so many musical references to this project, but he doesn't lose himself in who he's referencing, and I do enjoy that, because we do still get really hard-hitting tracks that are very off-kilter, like Birds that feature Rick Ross. I love how crunk and how loud this album can get. I love how energetic and in your face it can be, but I love how toned down and how melodic it can be at the same time. I think he did a good job at playing this as if it would almost be a radio station, but just from Miami. Last but not least is the new Slowtie album. This was a project that a lot of people, I guess, think that, I guess they don't know that I know about Slowtie. And I know about his contributions to projects like, the new Flume mixtape. But Nothing Great About Britain was an amazing... If I had to... I never formally reviewed this project. If I would have written a review out for one, I probably would have given this a 9 out of 10. It's easily one of the best written and best political statements on an album I've heard in recent years. This entire album pretty much is a diss to Britain, its political system, the way they handle people, the rebellion that we get from Slowtie, the anger and the wit that we sometimes get within his voice, the eccentricity and the animation that I rarely get from many UK rappers, but definitely got from Slowtie. It's not so traditionally trying to be a specific brand of UK hip-hop, and at the same time, the characters that he's representing on this project are extremely layered and detailed. To fuck you to the establishment and the issues that he has with his current government and their system in Britain, and I love the way it's handled on this project. Now, I could have included about 7 to maybe 10 more projects on this list, but I didn't want to make the video too long, and I think this is about a good amount of albums for people to listen to if they haven't heard them already. Y'all be sure to let me know what your favorite albums of the year so far have been. These are subject to change as we get further into the year and more albums come out. But yeah, that's how I'm feeling. I hope you guys enjoyed the list, and yeah, and I'm out. Songs playlist coming soon. I'll see you soon. Peace. You already know somebody's gonna come back and comment these aren't the best albums of the year.
There's no point in trying to go
I know.
over
I'm
with
just saying,
discuss
bro,
anything with these people.
come
They
on.
don't know you.
I
They don't
went
know
through the
you.
whole
It's
trouble of
okay.
putting this shit together.
I
and
get
it's
you.
like,
I'm with you. I
niggas wanna
feel
be
you.
like
I'm
on some
you.
bullshit.